Yeah. 170,
170.
around 170.
ठीक है.
है ना? ठीक है. Let's start. People will join in, है ना?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the main event will come later on, so they can join in. Yeah. So Preeti.
Yes, sir. Can I start?
Yeah.
A very good evening to all. On behalf of the Seminar, Public Relations and Membership Development Committee of the Bombay Chartered Accounting Society, I welcome you all to today's event to celebrate the success of our finalists of the November 20 and the January 21 examinations. This past year has been extremely harsh on all of us, especially those who took a competitive exam, as competitive as the final CA. But you persevered, you showed up, and you triumphed. All the very best to you in your future journey. Today's mentors remind me of a poem by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one that was less traveled, and that has made all the difference. We have a specially curated evening ahead for all of you. I would request our president, dear CA Suhas Paranspe, to address us. Over to you, President, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Preeti. Good evening, all my seniors, friends, my office bearers. I welcome all of you on this Bcas virtual platform on the occasion of Felicitation of Fresh Chartered Accountants, November 2020 and January 21 batch. I congratulate all of them for completing this course and joining CA pool. This is one of the most awaited events for all of us. We at Bcas are eager to welcome fresh and young professionals. This is a seminar and MRD committee initiative under chairmanship of Narayan Pasariji, and I thank all the active committee members for today's event and its huge preparations going on for last month or so. I welcome and thank three mentors, CA Mrs. Bhavna Doshi, CA Robin Banerjee, and CA Anand Bathiya, for their acceptance to guide all of you. Bcas is running in its 72nd year. I would not call it as 72 years old organization, because youth participation and their active support at Bcas is and will always keep Bcas young and dynamic. Bcas has a social media presence with around 40,000 followers on its YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn handles. We need to make it much more wider, we are aware about it. And for this, we look forward to all of you to join and become active Bcas volunteers in the years to come. On becoming a part of this noble profession, your goal would be to make your career, to make your family proud, to settle down in your life, and to enjoy the life. All or some of you would go for further education and grow. This is This is one of the compartments of your professional and personal life. Very important compartment, no doubt. I would like to create a dialogue with you on two more possible compartments out of many. It's an attempt to create a dialogue with you and not to give you any advice, because all of us are now professional colleagues. And what I'm going to share is to some extent my personal practical experiences and not a theory. First compartment out of the two, I call it as professional social responsibility. PSR, professional social responsibility. All of you must have studied corporate social responsibility as a part of your syllabus, as a part of your training. As a professional, you can carry out social responsibility, that is PSR, along with your career, your family and friends, with all enjoyments of life. You can give back to the society as a professional what you got from it. You can share your knowledge, your expertise through participation in the events, writing in blogs, social media, journal, and publications. You can spend your time for voluntary work, for charitable activities by becoming a part of voluntary bodies. BCAS, Bombay Chartered Accountant Society, BCAS is one such voluntary body which gives you platform to perform and to carry this PSR. And for this, sky is the limit here. You will get many mentors, seniors to share and nurture your career ahead. All of us who are present here, we are doing this as a part of our professional social responsibility today. Your commitment and dedication is a starter. This is a sharing of my personal experiences. And we all invite you to join us and strengthen this organization to remain young forever. The second compartment. You may follow your career with industry, bigger firm or other firms, own or family practice, startup entrepreneurs, startup entrepreneur, and so on. You may be in India or out of India, but keep one compartment for commitment to your health, hobbies, likings, physical and mental well-being, that is other than your professional commitments. In this compartment, you can become an athlete. You can run, you can jog, you can play, you can swim, you can do cycling, trekking, go to Himalayas, explore, enjoy and preserve nature, play music, sing, dance, and do everything on long-term and consistent basis, just like you eat and drink every day. But keep child in you alive forever. This can keep you fit and young for a long time. All this has to be done physically and not on gadgets. Please remember it. It is a good idea to become technology savvy, but not technology slave. These are two compartments which I felt like sharing with you for your kind consideration at a very start of your career. Now, I come to a very well articulated design scheme at BCS that is called Gift a BCS Membership Initiative. Gift a BCS Membership Initiative of this committee. It is a scheme under which BCS members can gift annual or life membership to his chartered accountant relatives, friends, employees, or his juniors, his or her juniors. This scheme is available on BCS website, www.bcsonline.org. May I request all of you to propagate this scheme to your known chartered accountants. We decided to give free BCS annual membership to all the rank holders under this gift membership scheme, subject to fulfillment of necessary compliances and conditions. For example, applying a ICAI membership is one of the conditions to become BCS member. And I'm thankful to all those who immediately agreed to participate in this scheme just with my one WhatsApp message. I'm thankful to all those around 20-22 people. With these brief remarks, I congratulate all the fresh chartered accountants once again and invite you to grow yourself with BCAS. Thank you very much. Over to Preeti again.
Thank you, President, sir. I'm sure that the participants will derive a lot of inputs and insights from your talk today. May I now invite the chairman of the Seminar Public Relations and Membership Development Committee, Narayan Bhai Pasari. He has been our mentor and he's the driving force behind this entire event. So Narayan Bhai, over to you.
Thank you, Preeti. But before me, we have a out of syllabus event. I will request our very fast and responsive Vice President Abhay to say a few words, please.
Thank you, Narayanji. President Suhas, three mentors, the conveners of this dynamic committee, and my dear fellow professionals who have just entered our league. It is indeed a great day, a golden moment for you all when you have passed out as a chartered accountant. And now it is not a come again for you, it is a chartered accountant for you all. So I hope that you all will be enjoying the journey of chartered accountancy. But only one thing I would like to state, that keep on learning, because this is not the end of the journey. This is the start of the journey of learning, which will continue till you are a professional. And I would like to just say one word for you all, that for a beginning, look around for an inspiration that you are doing today through the mentors. But for an end, become the inspiration to many in a way that you are also able to guide many more such professionals in future. Thank you all.
Thank you, Abhay Bhai, for your kind words. Namaskar, friends. President CA Suhas, VP CA Abhay, our mentors for the evening, CA Bhavna Ben, CA Robin Bhai, and CA Anand, past presidents Pranay Bhai and Uday Bhau, conveners CA Preeti, CA Kinjal, and CA Mrinal, coordinators CA Rimple, CA Virag, and CA Kushal, other members of BCS, and of course, my dear achievers, the freshly qualified chartered accountants. A very good evening to all of you. On behalf of my committee, I once again congratulate and welcome all of you to this event. The last count was that we had near to 500 registrations being an online event, but still a huge number of CAs under the BCA platform. This number included 76 rank holders and chartered accountants from 44 cities and 17 states all across India, including Mumbai and Thane, which accounts for a huge number of the total. Last year, in January 2020, for the same event, we had 190 participants physically present at the BCS office, mostly from the city of Mumbai. Youth, or Yuva Shakti, as we call it, is an integral part of BCS activities, and we have been focusing on the youth and related activities for the last few years in various forms of programs and events. The power of the youth has been recognized by the PM of the country time and again. In his recent address this week, he again urged the youth to form small committees in their neighborhood to help foster COVID discipline. The transmissibility and lethality of these muted strains is a strong reason to quickly protect younger persons with vaccines, and hence the government's move to vaccinate all above 18 from 1st of May. Till then, an appeal to each one of you to follow all lockdown instructions in letter and spirit. Before I invite our mentors for the interactive session we have planned for you, let me tell you about some of the initiatives of this committee of BC. First, the must sought after RRC, the residential refresher course, is also conducted by this committee. Unlike every year, this year in Jan 2021, the 54th edition of the RRC was for the first time held in online format with about 160 participants from all across India. The RRC brings the best of the latest and relevant topics with eminent speakers for the various sessions spread over 4 days. Time-tested panel and group discussion format of the RRC is ideal for an intense participative learning facilitated by collective wisdom as the delivery mechanism. Number two, each year BCA comes out with a premium and prize publication called the BCA Referencer. This year, 21-22, is the 59th year of this continuous publication. It is a testimony of BCA's commitment to equip our community with the tools to function effectively. The Referencer is a theme-based publication, and the theme this year is Namaste Bharat, based on the rich heritage of India. As a token of our appreciation, we will provide free access of the flipbook version of the BCA Referencer to all the newly qualified CAs once they become member of BCA. What's more, the flipbook version of the Referencer will be released in your presence by our distinguished mentors. As the name of the committee suggests, we also carry out a number of activities relating to membership development and public relations, which include online quiz for members every month, social initiative like blood donation drive every year, and similar other events. Coming to today's event, BCA recognizes the sheer hard work and efforts put in each one of you to qualify as a chartered accountant. It is said that only after clearing the final exams, you realize that the journey has just begun. Clearing the exams is the first milestone towards success. Chartered accountants play a very important role in nation building. They are the foundation base of any economy, and utilizing their financial expertise, the nation gets the right direction to enhance the economy with industrial and services growth. In fact, youth contribute significantly to a nation's growth. The passion, desire, motivation, determination, and high energy of the youth make all the difference in strengthening of a nation. Proper guidance and direction can bring the youth to the forefront of national development. Dear friends, you are at the junction of your life where your decisions will shape your career and your career endeavors. All at BCA, we consider it our responsibility to equip the young budding CAs of a fraternity with the right set of skill and knowledge to achieve professionalism, success, and name. Today, we are fortunate to have three excellent mentors in Bhavna Ben, Robin Bhai, and Anand to guide you in your future life in the profession. In social media lingo, they can be termed as influencers. They need no introduction, and I'm sure your generation must have searched about them on the SM. With their permission, I will skip their formal detailed introduction. I have another pleasant to task to perform the release of the flipbook version of the referencer. May I request our convener, C.A. Kinjal Bhuta, who is also the youngest editor of the referencer, to take the proceedings further from here. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you, Chairman sir, and to all of my seniors and fellow brother CAs. So I take today immense pleasure, and I'm so humbled to present the release of the new aged flipbook version of the referencer of BCS. The BCS referencer is a flagship publication of BCS, and we are entering the 59th year this year. So it is the 59th edition which is going to release today. We come up every year just to give it a brief about the BCS referencer. It is a very well curated compilation of probably all the pertinent topics of practice, and we have divided that among in 6 modules, namely accounting and auditing, company law, indirect taxes, direct taxes, international taxation and FEMA, and all other allied laws. So we try to bring in all the specific areas and laws, which in a very precise and a concise manner, as a one-stop stop for all the needs, at least the basic referencer needs of any practicing or any other chartered accountant. Along with that, to make it more interesting, we also have a theme attached to the referencer every year. And as Narayan Bhai mentioned, this year our theme is Namaste Bharat. So the idea behind bringing this theme was to celebrate our rich cultural heritage, wherein we have brought about various aspects, various traditional aspects of the Indian culture, like literature, Arthashastra, yoga and Ayurveda, or probably Indian festivals. So that is our effort to bring in something new in version of the theme this year. And I'm sure that all the readers of the referencer would like to read on the theme. Apart from that, we every year bring the referencer in the physical format, but along with the changing times, we have also improvised ourselves and brought about the new aged, very user friendly flipbook of the referencer. And this is the second year. In fact, we brought it about with the changing circumstances and this COVID situation, and to enable all our readers for the timely dispatch of material which they would have liked to read. So although because of the logistics issue, because of the COVID, we are not able to provide the physical copies on time, but we have tried our best to bring the flipbook version as we had promised to be released in April. So that is our effort to bring it on time. This release would not be complete if I don't thank a lot of people and an entire team which is behind bringing about this referencer. So first and foremost, I would like to start with all my senior editors, Shri Yatin Desai, Shri Zubin Bilemoria. They both have been a guiding force, and they have meticulously edited the entire referencer by burning the midnight oil and bringing about the edit materials as and when I demanded so. So I'm very thankful to both of them. Secondly, I would also like to give a very heartiest gratitude to Shri Pranay Marfatia, who is also past president of BCS. He has been instrumental to bringing the referencer. So I remember since I have known referencer, I associated only with Pranay Bhai. So that is the name which comes to me when I always think about the referencer. So he has been the guiding light and always have been motivated and just a call away to any of the issues which I bring up at any time of the day. So thank you, Pranay Bhai. Also, I think the referencer is incomplete if I don't thank our robust team of compilers. We have 22 compilers this year, and it is a mixed bag of young, passionate compilers, just like you all people who are attending today. So we have a team of young compilers, and at the same time, we have balanced it with our experienced seniors who give their insights, their experience, and their comments on the compilation which is made by the young and passionate contributors of this referencer. So they have been a dedicated team and have taken this Herculean task of completing the referencer within the deadlines which we have put forth before them. So I also thank all of those compilers. Apart from that, I think last but not the least, I would like to thank our mentor, which is our chairman, Narayan Bhai, who has been always, I always tell him that he gives a free hand to especially juniors like us to take and lead or take this entire referencer. However, at the same time, his meticulous planning, I think we all are aware and agree to, that has been always an inspiration, especially to juniors like us. So would thank you, Narayan Bhai, for getting behind us and ensuring that we commit the referencer on time. I would also like to thank our conveners of the committee, and also our committee member Rimpal Deria, who has been a very big support to me throughout the referencer for this year. And I think with that, I think we are ready to release the flipbook version of the referencer. I invite our eminent mentors, Bhavna Bain, Robin Bhai, and Anand Bhai, to virtually release this flipbook. So Mrinan is sharing the screen of the flipbook version of the referencer which we brought about. We can't physically bring it about, so I would like to everyone to give just a virtual applaud and release the referencer.
It's beautifully designed, really beautiful.
Exquisite to say the least. Fantastic.
Robin bhai, the forward needs to be properly read. It is beautifully done by Anand. So this is the
These are
first
the,
book.
yes, this is the first module out of the 6 modules which we have. And we have tried to make it into an extremely user-friendly format to enhance the experience of all our referencer buyers.
Beautiful, very beautiful.
Great, great, excellent.
Very innovative style.
Yeah, and lot of hard work and of course creative.
Thank you, Bhavna Ben. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Yes, Marinal, thank you so much.
And congratulations. Superb.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think I hand over the proceedings back to Preeti.
May I invite Rimple to just briefly read the profiles of the 3 mentors? Of course, they need no introduction, and I'm sure that all the registered participants have already checked them out on the LinkedIn profile. So Bhavna Ben, Robin Bhai, and Anand, I can tell you that our participants would have definitely read and have their questions ready for the chat box which is coming in. Rimple, can I request Rimple to please read out? Thank you so much.
Thanks, Preeti. Dear friends, our chairman mentioned that our mentors don't need any introduction, and he requested to skip their formal introduction. But however, since most of you are millennials and may not know the panel of the esteemed mentors, we, the coordinators, thought of giving a short single slide introduction. The importance of a mentor in one's life, especially we chartered accountants, is huge. And we at BCS, we try to get you a mix of them. We have mentors from industry as well as practice. We have a young achiever today amongst us, as well as a leading lady. Allow me to share the short profile with you. So our first mentor for today is Bhavna Doshi. She is founder partner at Bhavna Doshi and Associates LLP. She also serves as independent director at some of the listed companies. She has been a formal senior advisor at KPMG India. She has been also past Central Council member of the ICI and chaired Accounting Standards Board, Research Committee, Vision Committee, and others at ICI. She also served as member of the Compliance Advisory Panel of International Federation of Accountants, which is headquartered at New York. She has also been past president of the Indian Merchants Chamber, member of CII Government Committee, and has become executive committee. To add one more feather, she has also been instrumental at writing the indirect tax law for Sri Lanka. Our other mentor for today, CA Robin Banerjee, is Managing Director of Caprians India Limited. He also serves on board of independent directors, Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, Government of India, and is also on the board of SME Chambers of India. He has won several business awards and authored many publications, including 2 best-selling business non-fiction, Who Blunders and How, Scams, Fraud, and Dark Side of the Corporate World, and Who Blunders and How, The Dumb Side of the Corporate World. I'm sure it would be an interesting read. He is a much sought after speaker on business and economic subjects, a popular columnist, a keen gym enthusiast, and loves sports. We have another panel for today. Our last panelist, CA Anand Bathiya. He is partner and at transaction practice head at Bathiya and Associates. He has been engaged in advising leading companies on domestic and international M&A transactions, on issues for raising equity resources, for valuation, group restructuring, and so on. He has also key author. He's also a key author of Valuation Standard on Financial Instruments. He is also managing committee member of the BCS and the member of the various committee at Chamber of Tax Consultants at WIRC. He He has also been member of the Young Indians of the CII for the year 2021-22. He is also independent director and audit committee chair on various listed companies. And our moderator for today is CA Kushal Lodha, who is AIR 5 in November 2019. He has also been AIR 5 for IPCC and CPT exams. Currently, he is working with Aditya Birla Group as a finance leadership associate in the corporate finance department. And he also runs a podcast on YouTube with the name Conversation with Kushal with a subscriber base of 48K. He is also a CFA level 3 candidate and enjoys playing the guitar. Kushal, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rimple, for such lovely introduction of all the mentors and the moderator being me itself. So, hello everyone. Good evening to all of you. First of all, heartiest congratulations for clearing your CA exams, which is considered one of the toughest exams on this particular planet. So this is not an exaggeration, but even I have been through this phase. So I'll just request Bilal to share the screen. We'll just show you the physical event, which usually happens, but unfortunately, due to COVID, it is not possible for us to have a physical event. So last year when I had cleared my CA finals exam, this is how we were felicitated in the Bcas in the Churchgate office. So like we were called and there were 190 participants where everyone was sitting and we were felicitated with all the mementos and all the questions were answered by the mentors. So this is how it had happened last year. And it was a very interactive session and indeed, again, a very value additive session for all of us. So unfortunately, due to COVID, we couldn't do that, but we ensure that we'll do a similar one on this Zoom platform with all your queries being answered. So thank you so much, Bilal, for the same. Now, without wasting much of your time, let us begin with the formal sessions and let us begin with the questions as well. So the flow of this session would be I'd be asking the questions to all our mentors, and all the questions have been taken through the questions which have been submitted by you on your Google form. So first question to you, Robin, sir, is that various CAs after their qualification, what they have, the problem is that they want to decide whether to enter into industry, whether to do job, or whether to enter into practice, whether to start my own consultancy firm or whether to enter into own CA firm. So what is your view? What should a person do ideally if he has cleared his CA examinations, whether he should go to a job in an industry or whether he should start his own practice?
Thank you. Thank you, Kushal. Good evening, all of you. Congratulations for qualifying the toughest exam on earth. And we have all done it. Now the question here is, and most of you are sitting on the tipping point saying that, should I start a practice or should I join an industry? This perhaps is the most best question, which is most important in your mind, primary in your mind. I have Bhavna Ben with me, and I'm sure she would help to understand, to make you understand what happens in a consultancy or practice. But to give you an overview, both are as good. So whether you are in industry or consultancy or practice, both are as good. I think the primary issue is who gets which opportunity. This is how it all starts. When I was young, when I qualified as a CA, I was picked up by PwC in Kolkata. That's where I was living at that point in time, in the tax department. And that was young, very young, of course, fresh from the institute. Within about 2 or 3 weeks' time, I got a call from Hindustan Unilever to join as a management trainee. And there was a very tough interview. We were called in Mumbai. There were oral interviews, written tests, group discussions, and one-on-one interviews. And fortunately, from all over India, they picked up 3 of us. And then rest became history. So there was an opportunity for me to join the industry. Now, did I plan for it at that point of time? The answer is no. Therefore, my submission to all of you, my dear friends, is that too much planning doesn't help. Whatever opportunity comes to your mind, take it. Both has equal opportunities to become successful. And most of the most successful chartered accountants in India are already on this web. And ladies and gentlemen, youngsters, I'm sure you are able to see some of them. Let me give you a little bit of industry perspective, because we will have other things to talk about. Now, first, I think, is an opportunity. The second, whenever you pick up an opportunity or an option, perhaps the most important point which comes to your mind, One is money. Will I get enough rewards? And number two, will I get satisfaction? Money and satisfaction are the two areas which comes to our mind when we decide what we need to do. If you join an industry, what you should aspire for, and that's why I would say, what is it that you should do? And if you join a consultancy or you join a practice, what is it that you should aspire for? If you join an industry, you should aspire for becoming a CFO, Chief Financial Officer. I have not stated the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer, because most of the time becoming a CEO, to my mind, is a matter of luck. But each chartered accountant, every chartered accountant can become a CEO, CFO. Therefore, if you have to become a CFO, what is it that you should do? In terms of joining an industry, it's a classical question of whether you should become a generalist or whether you should become a specialist. Now, this is a conundrum you will go through when you join a practice. You could be a tax expert and remain a tax expert for life. You could be an M&A expert and remain M&A expert for life, and so on and so forth. In an industry, normally the CFO will be a generalist. In industry also, you can be join as a tax and become general manager tax, VP tax, director tax. But can a director tax become a CFO? Chances are little. You can join in internal audit, become general manager internal audit, VP internal audit, director internal audit. Director internal audit, of course, doesn't happen to my mind much. So can you become a CFO? The answer is no. If you join an industry, my submission to all of you is look for a generalist option rather than a specialist option. Now you are young, you just passed on chartered accountancy, you will join an industry. So what will happen? Chances are that you will start as a management trainee or a trainee, or you will join an internal auditor or a tax person or accounting or management accounting, wherever you will join, or finance. In 3 to 4 years' time, try to see that you can move out from the discipline and learn another discipline. My submission to you is prepare from the early stage of your life to become a CFO. Normally, the CFO is the number 2 person in the hierarchy of any organization. I have been a CFO and now a CFO for the last 10 years. Before that, I was CEO for the last 10 years, and I was also a CEO in Germany. Now, being a finance trained person, a chartered accountant, it helped me to become the CFO and then the CEO. So the question which was asked is, should you join an industry or should you join a practice? Now, when you join a practice, of course, my submission to you is that you should aspire yourself to become a partner equivalent to a Big 4, Big 6, Big 10, Big 20. Now, in order to do that, you can remain, to my mind, you can remain a specialist. You can also remain a generalist. And I will discuss this whole concept of generalist versus specialist when we talk about perhaps as we go along, what next in our career. I will spend another minute or two on remaining to be, if you are an industry. As I say, there are 2 things which we look for, money and satisfaction. Normally, an industry should be able to provide you both. But luck always plays an important part. Some of us may land up in a job where the employer doesn't treat you well, and this is going to happen. You will end up into a job because you're in an industry, the boss doesn't like you, and vice versa, you don't like the boss. This is bound to happen. Therefore, as you move along, please try to understand, if you're in industry, you are an employee. But if you're in a practice and you are owning the practice, then you are the employer. So there is a distinction some of us have, that I do not wish to become an employee. I want to become an employer, the boss. An employee need not be the boss, but that's another matter. Therefore, the mindset should also be that you are an employee. Therefore, you will be directed and guided from time to time. There would be instances where you shall perhaps not be treated fairly. Your colleague may get promoted before you as the time goes by. As in my 40 years of career, there has been time when we joined as a management trainee, my colleague got promoted before me. And as we go along, I got promoted before him or her. So take these as part of your deliverables, and move on. To answer the answer is short, both are as good. And both are as good, whether it's industry or practice. But if you join an industry, try to become a generalist, chances of greater success will come in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for such a lovely answer. Bhavna, ma'am, would you like to add something on the same question?
Yeah. Yeah, and first of all, let me again start by congratulating all the participants, the young members who have qualified, and welcome to this fraternity. And as Robin said, this is it's a very difficult question in that sense as to whether you should opt for industry or practice as you qualify. Sometimes, and in our times, what Robin had or I did, our times, we never used to give too much thought to it, and whatever came our way, we really accepted it and went ahead. Today, what I find is that the younger generation, you all have given a lot of thought to it. So you early on, as you start your career or as you start coming into final, you think through, what do I want to do? Do I want to go in industry? Do I want to go in practice? And you start preparing for it. But as Robin said, whatever you do, don't worry too much, because you can always do course correction. If you opt for, as Robin himself said, he first started in a consulting organization or a practicing firm, and he changed over to industry. Similarly, there are several people who change from industry and come to practice. So don't worry too much about it. And this is a question which is always there. I remember 40 years ago when we were very young, freshly qualified like you all, and we were at a residential refresher course. And in the evening, we used to have some general interaction. So there were two of the speakers, and both very, very well placed, one from practice and one from industry. And people jokingly said so to the person who was in industry, that you are in industry, what do you think? Which is better? And he said, see, I have a very simple theory. In the early days of your career, in industry, you earn more than what you do in practice, because in practice you struggle more. But as you go along in the later years, he said, my friend earns far more than what I do. So in the later years, maybe people in practice earn more than what industry gives them. Because in industry, again, you have one single boss, effectively. You are serving one client. Whereas in practice, you have several clients. So it again then depends on your abilities, your liking, what you do, that you grow and you develop. So one question which very often comes in minds of people is, how do I take that decision? What do I need to think through when I want to take that decision? Should I go to industry? Should I go to practice? And I would say, examine few things. And all of you are very familiar with the startup concept. If you think of practice, it's like a new enterprise. You are a startup. And then you need to evaluate, think through, and what you would advise a startup, a business startup who would come to you, that how do you evaluate the pros and cons of it? And in doing that, first of all, you look within. So first, you look at your family background. Is it a right time for you to take that chance? Or you must initially start off in industry or start off with a firm where you have some steady income. So that's, to my mind, comes as a first criteria, because family, in our society, family has certain expectations. Think of your own likes and dislikes, because as Robin was explaining, when you are in industry, it's quite different from what you do when you are in practice. So what do you like? Do you like to interact more with people? Can you do the sale effectively? How are you at interpersonal skills? Of course, are required at both. But the type of interpersonal skill that you would need in both are different. So think through that. Also, think of your own skill sets. What are you good at? And what do you enjoy doing it? Of course, you'll have your peer groups, you'll have guides and several other people telling you a lot of things. But today, what I find most of the youngsters doing is the Google mentor. They will read up so much and they'll have so much of it going into their mind, but you'll have to someday take a decision. So you can apply this, think through. Even in practice, you have plenty of opportunities. And the first question which arises in minds of most of the people is, should I join practice, existing practice, or should I join some organization? Should I start my own? Or if you have a family practice, should I join my family practice? And very often people come back and say, no, I don't want to go to my own family practice. Unlike what Anand did, will say, no, I'll have a lot of questions and I don't want to do that. I'll rather be free and go out and do it. Sometimes the parents come and tell us, my son or daughter has qualified, but do you think we should send them to some other firm? Because in our own firm, they'll have a lot of sort of freedom, and then other people in the organization will feel that it's his son or daughter and has come in, and we are not getting opportunity which he or she is getting. So different questions do come up in the minds of people when it's a family firm, but you have these options, and then as we go along, we'll discuss some of them, that when you want to start off on your own, what happens when you join a larger firm or a practicing firm, what happens. But whatever you do, one thing you must be very clear is that you have to give time. You have to be patient. Don't think that today I have joined and in next 2 years I'll become a sort of manager. I'm using that term, manager and the senior manager, and then I'll become partner. 10 years I'll be at the partner level, and then the question that then arises is, I've reached the pinnacle, now what do I do? So please don't think of rushing so fast. You can go slow, climb the ladder slowly, and success will be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your words of wisdom as well. My next question is to you, Anand sir. So let's take an example that a particular qualified chartered accountant has decided that he wants to enter into practice. So now there are two paths, whether like it'll be generalization or specialization. So the question here is like whether he should have a generalized practice having an overview of all the areas, or he should be specialized in one particular department. And if he has to diversify, another follow-up question is, what are some of the emerging new areas where these CS can practice into?
Thank you, Kushal. And firstly, congratulations to each one of y'all. Not only maybe it is the toughest examination to crack, but you guys have maybe had the toughest time as well, within which y'all had to give this examination and come out. So congratulations for that. Kushal, the question of industry versus practice, or maybe specialization versus generalization, is in a way a good to have problem. It's a problem of plenty, in a sense that we are blessed with being a chartered accountant, and because we are so versatile, we are having this discussion, and the fact that we are having a discussion itself means that each one of that has some merits or the other. So the way that I would look at it is maybe amplify what Mr. Robbins said, is that it is similar, practice or industry. Maybe rather than looking at a top down, one should look at the own circumstances, maybe as a bottoms up, in terms of what is my preferences, what is my family background, and then take that conscious call rather than looking at it from an outside in perspective. I was just recollecting when I passed out in 2007-8, a fresh CA in industry was commanding anywhere between 5.5, 6 lakhs at that time. Even in 2005, when one of my cousin passed, it was that range, 50,000 a year. Even if you see in 2021, and I was recently interviewing few people for my offices, there are fresh chartered accountants who may be expecting a 50,000 per month salary. So there are dynamics to it. Even inflation in a 15-year period would have been at least 3 times in that sense. But keeping that aside, if at all you have liking for a particular wave, then you should go by your liking rather than anything else. On the generalization versus specialization, my take is, at least from a practice perspective, one needs to look at specialization. Uh, you wouldn't go to a heart specialist for a problem with your lungs. Both are doctors. Even an ENT and an ophthalmist, both on the face are quite different. But as chartered accountants, what is expected is that I should know accounts, auditing, direct tax, indirect tax, legal, company law, GST, IFRS, transfer pricing, international tax. And it's clearly not possible for an individual to have the same level of depth in some of these nuances area. Maybe when our previous generation would have done their practices, my father tells me that there were no accounting standards when he qualified. And today we have accounting standards, auditing standards, internal audit standards, CSR standards, secretarial standards. So it is complex. And the second part is that you have technology that is taking away the entire compliance and all of that part. So if it is not specialization, to my mind, from a practice perspective, generalization will have its own limitations. If you look at from a practice perspective, a large part of practitioners are what we call as efficiency based practitioners. Starting new, less than 5 years of experience, you can just run to a client, pick up calls, and make sure that the problem is solved on that GST tax return or that particular ROC form. The challenge comes in migrating from that efficiency based practice maybe to a next level, which is experience based practice. And that takes time. And the jump that Bhavna Ben was saying in terms of specialization is moving from maybe a experience-based practice to a expertise-based practice. And which is where you can add true value to the thing that you are doing. And maybe what you get is satisfaction, as Mr. Robin said, rather than constant client calls when you are at a generalist practice. So yes, from an industry perspective, completely appreciate what Robin sir is saying, that you need to be generalist to reach to that CFO. From a practitioner's perspective, my sense is, yes, we are jack of all, but we need to be master of one for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anand, sir, for your lovely answer as well. Bhavna ma'am, would you like to add something on the same question?
Yeah, I think I would agree with Anand, and of course what Robin also mentioned. See, even in industry, as he said, that you first need to get experience at several levels. I would think even when you start practice or when you get into practice, again, a lot depends on what you learn during your articleship. Our profession provides that unique opportunity of 3 years articleship. So if there you had opportunity of learning different sectors, different areas, then you have some background laid. And yet, despite that, my suggestion to the youngsters would be that in the initial years, learn everything. Because as Anand said, you need to know something about auditing. You need to know that there are such accounting standards. There is IFRS and there is Ind AS and internal audit and tax and whatnot. So you need to have that basic knowledge, or at least not knowing that something like this is there and where I can look up. And then, of course, as you go along, specialist is the way to go. The reason being, one, of course, and you know what an MBBS would earn and what a specialist would earn. The same thing happens here also. When you are a generalist, you'll be paid like a generalist. If you're a specialist, you'll be paid like a specialist. So there is going to be that difference also, and which gives you that differentiation. But again, everyone cannot be that. So one would have to think of one's own circumstances, one's own capabilities. Somebody likes procedures and says, I'm happy. I don't want to do so much of it, because when you are a specialist and say you are a transfer pricing specialist, you'll be continuously updating yourself with so much developments happening all over. But of course, as Anand said today, specialist is the way to go. In fact, I remember early days when, whenever you go to any international firm outside of India and you ask a tax question, and if supposing the person you are dealing with is not a tax person, or even if he is a tax person, he's not dealing with that specific area, they'll say, wait, let me get my partner on call, because this is a very specialized area. I won't be able to answer that. I know generally, but I won't be able to answer the question and they won't get onto the call only. They'll say, let's get the partner. Same thing happens when you go to law firms. Whenever you are asking for any specific question relating to a specific law, they'll say, okay, generally I know, but let's ask this person. He's a specialist. So specialist always commands something more, some more respect and all in variety of ways. So later part of the days do try to get into specialization, but you must have that generalist. And a dilemma and a question which arises is, how much time do I spend doing it? And generally, as is said, theoretically, to become an expert of any subject, you need 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours means at least about 3.5 to 4 years, right? So my suggestion would be that if you want to be in practice, treat first 3 to 4 years learning, becoming an expert or whatever. I mean, try to spend that time, be patient and do that. And once you do that, then you already have a very strong foundation on which you build. So that would be my suggestion. Of course, Robin also said that for industry, but in case he has a different perspective.
Yeah, I think thank you, ma'am. So the crux here is that you should keep experimenting things at your young age right now, and then after a point of time, you should go and specialize. So Robin, so you would like to add something on generalist versus specialist here?
It's becoming rather a hot topic.
Yeah.
But let me add my little 2 minutes here. It's good to be contrarian, isn't it? It's good to be contrarian. So first, we must always benchmark ourselves. Who is our competitor? Who is our competitor? A chartered accountant's competitor. A chartered accountant's competitor is typically IIM graduates. That's what we are fighting with. We are also fighting with the legal fraternity, the lawyers. Now, I will be a little biased on the industry because let me give you the industry viewpoint, because to my mind, we have about 300,000 accountants, of which 150,000 serves and 150,000 practices. This is more or less. So there's 50% of us who are in the industry. And the chances are the 50% of the listeners today would be joining an industry. And therefore, for those 50%, when you are getting a job, you are fighting your position against a top class MBA, top 20, top 25 institutes. Don't go below that. Those are not our competitors. The top 20, top 25 are. And the top class lawyers are. Therefore, what do they have and what do we have? Or what we don't have and what they have is the question. One thing which they have and which we normally lack is the ability to communicate, the presentation skills, the ability to sell ourselves. When you are joining an industry, you join an industry through an interview. And that interview, that 15 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, all that what you get to sell yourself. Can an MBA do a better job? MBA from the top class? That's the question. Therefore, if you are joining an industry, you please try to make yourself higher, the ability higher than an IIM. Let's put that as your benchmark, or a top class lawyer. Having said that, I want to become a little contrarian, and I will now enter into Bhavna Ben and Anand's shoes. I want to give you a view that while I do understand that the specialist perhaps earns more, but one of the questions which perhaps is coming to your mind, what are the new practice areas we can do? And in this new practice area is, can you become a mini McKinsey? Who is a McKinsey? McKinsey is a generalist practitioners, not a specialist practitioners. McKinseys are typically gone. People goes to McKinsey's when a company is incurring losses. They're not able to come out of their problems. There are cash flow problems. There are systemic issues. And they go to McKinsey, which essentially speaking, what they are looking at, and I'm from the industry, and I can give you the view that many times we, the industry, are looking for a 360-degree solution. Ladies and gentlemen, please try to become a solution provider, a 360-degree solution provider, you shall be a winner. Now, when you become a 360-degree solution provider, that does not mean that you will not be a specialist in something. You can still be liking your tax. You can still be liking your, let's say, accounting. You are very good at that. Or maybe internal control processes. But apart from all that, if you can learn logistics, if you can learn purchasing, if you can learn insurance, if you can learn marketing and sales, that 360-degree solution is most industrialists are looking for. An MBA, IIM MBA normally will give a 360 degrees view. But we, the chartered accountants, normally will give accounting, management accounting, costing, income tax view. If we can make our strength, our strength, which is specialization in certain subjects, top it up with a generalist 360 degrees view, believe me, ladies and gentlemen, a new vista of opportunity is opening in front of us. New vista. We, the chartered accountants, should become a 360-degree solution provider, which is another area of practice. And one more thing, post-COVID, which perhaps is some of the questions which you are asking, is can we become a turnaround specialist? Most businesses are incurring losses. Most businesses don't know what to do with it. Who understands business the best? Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, chartered accountants understand the business. When you see a profit and loss account, a balance sheet, you will know exactly isko problem kya hai. You know, we have the ability to advise what medicine that sick person needs. Does it need an antibiotic, or does it need a paracetamol, or does it need a steroid? I don't think, apart from chartered accountants, anybody can diagnose a problem. We should be the diagnostic specialist, which again comes back to the 360 degrees ability, again comes back to a turnaround specialist. And that's a new area, to my mind, which the chartered accountants should look at for practicing. This holistically applies to industry all the time. If you want to become a CFO or a CEO, you have to become a generalist. There is no choice. That I'm quite sure. But I think for practice also, this is a new Western opportunity. Look at it.
Right. Such an amazing answer it was. Thank you so much. A follow-up question on this to you, Robin sir, itself. Even we have a question from the chat box from Meetsha, who asked like how to get into management consultancy. So there are a lot of unconventional roles which are open for CAs nowadays, and people want to get into investment banking or management consulting or private equity or some of the other roles in finance. Like they don't want to do the traditional work of auditing and taxation nowadays. This is the point of view of all the qualified chartered accountants. So how can one get into these unconventional roles?
My submission to all of you is the conventional roles are very crowded, very crowded. The GSTs and the direct taxes are very crowded. There are hundreds and thousands of opportunities for unconventional roles. Can you be a startup consultant? You don't have to be a startup entrepreneur yourself, but can you help a startup? Generally, a startup entrepreneur would be an engineer, straight from IIT or someone, great brain, has a great idea, 24, 25 years of age or 30 maybe, has some funding, wants to do a business. 2 years down the line, gone, fuck. 90% of startups fail. Why? Because they do not understand money, they don't understand finance. And if we can add value to the startup, that's an early area of an opportunity. Apart from what I say, turnaround specialist, 360 degrees ability, startups, consultants, the new genre of opportunities definitely is blockchain, big data, and artificial intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, what is blockchain? Blockchain is accounting only. It is seamless accounting, self-accounting. If blockchain is accounting, why is we, the chartered accountants, have not mastered blockchain? Because blockchain has been hijacked by the IT guys. That's why they are doing speculation through inventing something horrible stuff like Bitcoins. This is speculation, complete speculation. Cryptocurrency is a speculation. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I personally feel you shouldn't. But that's another matter altogether. We will not discuss if cryptocurrency should be invested in or not. That's a completely different issue. But at least you should learn for sure what is cryptocurrency. Blockchain is an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. The future of hospital management, logistics management, banking, transactions is through blockchain. Blockchain is an automatic choice. If we understand numbers, why should chartered accountants not take up blockchain as their specialization? Why IT guys? IT guys have taken up because we have not entered there. That's why blockchain is making a mess of it, and they are getting into speculation rather than contributing to the society. Big data. Who understands data more than a chartered accountant? We understand data. If we understand data, why is the IT guys working on big data? You and me should work on big data. We understand data. Management accounting, we all know, but the management accounting has now gone up several fold into big data and artificial intelligence. Again, an area of practice. So there are loads to my mind, but definitely turnaround specialization, 360-degree solution provider, startup advisors, handholding the SME sector, for instance, financing for sure, funding and financing for sure, blockchain, artificial intelligence, and big data, to my mind, are new areas of opportunities.
Right. Get it, sir. Thank you so much. So people should like explore the artificial intelligence, big data analytics also in order to prosper into their career as well. My next question. Yeah. Sure.
At the BCS, there was a small think tank that kind of went into that what should be the emerging areas for chartered accountants, be it in industry and practice. And we wanted to call it, as Mr. Robin also said, blue water areas. Like the traditional practices are red waters, there's price competition and all of that, but which are the blue water areas that one can look at. And the result of that exercise was 5 areas. Quite a few of them are covered in what Mr. Banerjee said, but let me just reiterate for the sake of it so that there is a compilation there. And identifying a new area was done basis of some secular trends that we are observing, which are particular to India and to the ecosystem that we live in. So the first one that came to mind was enabling startups, something that Mr. Banerjee said in terms of, and what is the secular trend there? That we are a country of young people. We are a country of young entrepreneurs. And so the businesses are also going to be young. We don't have a France or a Japan 300-year-old companies which are still surviving, but we will have new and young businesses. And hence, supporting them, enabling startups was the first area that we thought we should cover on the Blue Water platform. The second was management consulting, leadership coaching, something similar to the turnaround specialist that Mr. Banerjee said, that apply your domain knowledge and add a layer of 360-degree business on it and come up with a solution. There is an international thing of leadership coaching, management consulting. We don't have maybe Indian offshoots or outfits on that paradigm, and we can look at that as a second area. The third was ESG, which is environment, society, and governance particularly. And Mr. Banerjee has written books on frauds, etc. You would see the secular trend in India is that we have family-owned businesses. We have promoter-owned businesses. And promoter is a typical character who is a shareholder, who is on the board, and who is also on the management. Clear and classic situation and a cocktail for conflict. And the whole climate thing that is going on, ESG, was something that chartered accountants can come in as a third area. The fourth was digital and AI applications to finance. Now, again, applying your domain knowledge, having a tech layer into it, and having this blockchain, AI, big data applications into the technology. And the fifth one was family offices and fund management. Now, if you see the secular trend of India, maybe we have a large number of HNIs, ultra HNIs, as compared to maybe our place in terms of our GDP. Now that is slightly disproportionate, and it is also got to do with a different trend and the divide that we have between the haves and the have-nots. And when second generation, third generation start coming, one would need professional support in terms of family funds and managing those offices. So for the people who are looking for a career span as a marathon as the next 30 years, these secular trends which are emerging are something that we felt we should cover under the Blue Water platform. And what we are now planning to do is that over the next 1 year, across every alternate month, we want to cover one of these areas. And we'll have subject matter experts and create WhatsApp groups so that there is networking amongst that. But essentially, these 5 blue water areas are something that I just wanted to share with the team here.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Anand sir. I think that was pretty insightful as well. My next question is to you, Bhavna ma'am. Like all the people were asking, like whether they enter into industry or practice, what are some of the skill sets that they should have right from now, which will help them in order to prosper in their future career? So you can talk about the skill sets which are needed in practice, maybe, and Robin sir can talk about some of the expected skills from a candidate who's about to join in an industry.
First of all, let me tell you, skill sets are common rather. Ultimately,
Right.
you need there are basic skills. So the basic knowledge of the subject, ability to think through. And as Robin and Anand both said, see, ultimately, we have to be solution providers. There was a time, and even if, say, for example, if you were doing audit or if you're doing tax, whatever has happened for the past year, you are filing the return. Or if you're doing audit, you are verifying what has been done and reporting on that. But that's one small area of our practice. There are so many other areas, and today we are looking at more on the broader side. So more on the consulting side, and which is where we also look at this aspect about helping. So being a solution provider, and that's where we always say you add value to the business. And that is why businesses look at us as chartered accountants. And invariably, as Robin said, chartered accountants are preferred than the other discipline people from other disciplines, because they are able to, one, understand data, finance, transactions, and so on, and they can analyze a business, understand the business, and then come up with solutions. So of course, you as skill set, you need to have that ability to analyze, to understand, and more importantly, communicate. So you may be very good strategist, but if you can't communicate that well, and that is where very often we find others scoring over, because when you have, and particularly if you are sitting there as a person who's listening to it, and you find two different people making presentations, how have they imbibed and how are they presenting the same problem, the same solution, but the way you present it is different. It's like, even if you're given a pill, you shouldn't feel that it's bitter. So how do you, as we often in Gujarati say, okay, magnu naam mari padya vagar, you are able to convince that person and continue to remain connected with him, and he keeps coming back to you. So, several skill sets, I think all of us are very that way familiar. So I wouldn't just list generally, but what I would like to say is that one really needs to have that ability to think. And also one more thing, one should keep on learning. You never stop learning. So you think, oh, I'm in this position now, I don't have the time or I don't have the inclination. And I think the moment you do that, your growth will stop. To be successful and growing, you must keep learning. And currently, because of the COVID situation, we have a great advantage. Several courses from large and the best universities are available online. Some of them are free, some of them at fairly low cost. It's chance, and one should take an opportunity and keep learning. So ensure that you devote at least some time for your own personal development professionally. As the president said, you also do other things, but keep on developing professionally.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. And I think it's very important to keep learning, because once a person's learning attitude ends, then his old age starts to begin. So, Robin, sir, would you like to add something on this? Because we have a question from the chat box from Srishti as well. Like, what are some of the skills expected when a particular candidate enters into an industry?
So I will, after Anand and Bhavna were saying, let me summarize that as a generic skill set we, the chartered accountant, should have. Let us be very clear in our mind as to what the skill sets are. And I will also quickly tell you what the skill sets are expected in an industry. So as a generic, in order to be clear, I would like to take this word clear as your acronym so that you people will all remember. So CLEAR, all of you young. So if you practice CLEAR, chances are that the success will come. What is C? Communication. And just now Bhavna said that unless we are able to communicate well, both orally and written, we will not be able to succeed. So communication. C. L. L is natural. Learning. We must know our subject. If we continuous learning, continuous updation of our subject and whatever we are good at, we will not be able to proceed. So CLE. E is ethics. Now, unless you're ethical, it is very important that you must depict your ethics. So that is E. A is attitude. You must have a positive attitude. You can do everything in this world, provided you have a positive attitude. I can do it. And R is always in as a chartered accountant or as a consultant or as an industry, you will be always under pressure. So R is relaxed, cool and calm. MS Dhoni, Rahul Dravid, the epitome of cool and calm. If you show that you are anxious, you are perplexed, you don't know what to do, you are sweating, your boss or your employer, your company will not give you tough tasks to do. So communicate well, keep learning, be ethical, have a positive attitude, and be relaxed. Having said that, be clear in your mind, chances are that success will come. But what is it that for industry need to do? Just to add to that is you will remember 3 words. If you do, chances are that again, you should do well. First is IQ, intelligence quotient. You have to know your subject. You cannot say that, you know what, I will look at the books and tell you. You must understand in general, what is it that you are talking about? Conceptual clarity must be there. IQ. Next is EQ, emotional quotient. Emotional quotient is all about ability to deal with others. In any subject, whether it is consultancy or industry, unless you are able to deal with others, which is nothing else but leadership qualities, your ability to guide others, direct others, mentor others. It's all about EQ, emotional quotient, which is ability to deal with others. And last is LQ, IQ, EQ, LQ. LQ means love quotient. Love what you are doing. Don't keep complaining. This is bad, that is bad, he's bad, she's bad, Modi is bad, Modi's company is bad. Doesn't matter. What about you? We must love what I'm doing. Love your job, love your people, love the environment around you, and most importantly, love what you're doing. Please practice IQ, EQ, LQ, and remember CLEAR. That, to my mind, are the skill sets which we need for success.
Thank you so much, sir. I think that was very well summarized and very well encapsulated as well. So it's very important. Yes,
Can
sure.
you give me 1 minute? I will
Sure,
add
sure.
something.
Sure.
Bhavna Ben and Robin, by what I did in my 35 years, I learned 4 skill sets. One is Indian economy, Indian politics, Indian cricket, and Indian Bollywood. So that could break the ice. I have met thousands, but to do all these 4 things, I need to read a lot actually. This is apart from the core competency which I have. But to break the ice in any meeting, 5-10 minutes, I have to do 4 things. And one of the 4 would click with the other party actually. This is just I wanted to add actually. Thank you.
Very well said. Very well, Narayan.
Yes, sir. Very, very well said. And I think it's very important, all of you, to do what you love and love what you do. Both of the things are equally important here. So, like, my next question is to you, Anand, sir. Like, we also have one from the chat box. Now, it's very important, as you also pointed out, that one should learn to network. And because of those 5 emerging areas, you had said that like people were networking as well. Nowadays, what happens is that people are usually shy to reach out to new people because they'll think, what if I ask something wrong, or what if I ask something silly? So how important it is to learn the art of networking, and like what can someone do to master this particular art? We have this question from Madhukar Agarwal as well.
Yeah, no, I think, Kushal, it's a good question that you are not asking me whether we should network or not. And the question is how we should network. So,
Yeah.
so it's a fact accompli that yes, networking is a must. As far as how network, I mean, my take is slightly philosophical to say that, networking doesn't mean that you kind of just go out and distribute cards and, sell yourself. Essentially, it is maybe attaching yourself to a cause, building that particular relationships over time, and then making sure that you are more up there to give rather than get. More often than not, people feel that shy people or introverts can't network, but that's not the case. Maybe they can communicate less, but they may have strong networks as well. So my maybe two bits is that if you are liking a cause, like for example, when I qualified as a chartered accountant, I felt that maybe I should get associated with BCAS, WRC, and other professional causes. And that has helped me over the next 10, 12 years to interact with so many people, like-minded individual, that it changes the course of your career and trajectory. Network can help you in various ways. Like if I know Bhavna Doshi and if she is on a board of a company, I can clearly relate that knowing Bhavna Ben, the pedigree of that company will be at this quality. Or if Preeti is an internal auditor at that particular company, in my vertical as a M&A advisor, I can expect that checks and balances will be in place if Preeti is there. So the network can give you an effect in multiple ways. Network effect is something that all of us know. And the rule of compounding also applies to network. So the more you grow, the more you become senior, that network also expands. But as professionals, my suggestion would be to get associated with a cause, and networking will happen naturally. If you are in practice, certainly you need to get associated with some of the professional forums as well, because those are launch pads for your networking initiative. But don't go into it for the sake of it. Don't go into it with a heart that you are going to get work, but with a reason that you are going to contribute for a higher cause for the betterment of the society.
Right. That's a lovely answer, Anand sir. Thank you so much for that. I think it's also very important to network, because in order to get opportunities, you really need to network and you really need to talk to as many people as possible. My next question is to you, Bhavna ma'am. Like, what are some of the opportunities which have been risen because of this COVID pandemic to all the freshly qualified chartered accountants? How can they find the opportunities in this crisis?
Yeah. So as you know, COVID has, in a sense, really turned our world topsy-turvy all over. In fact, who had thought that we would be doing so much work sitting at home? But all of us have become very proficient in technology, digital world, and therefore we are able to now provide so many other services which earlier we might not have been providing. Of course, our regular services are going on. But one big advantage is that you can now reach out to people whom earlier you were never able to reach out. Even today's event, you have people from several cities joining in today, 17 states, which wouldn't have happened if it was physical. And this is only thanks to COVID, because we've organized this virtual event. So just as people, particularly those who are in the smaller towns, smaller villages, for them, a big vista has opened up, because now they are able to reach out to people, much larger audience, and they have skill sets which they can really showcase and able to get in. For people in the larger cities, they are able to network with others and also reach out to international community to say that showcase that this is what I know and I can do. And people abroad also think that, yes, if they can provide services, why not use their services? So that's a very big advantage. And in terms of opportunities also, one of the biggest opportunity, which Robin mentioned, is this turnaround strategist. That's what every business is looking at, whether you are in practice or whether you are in industry. And whoever is your client, you'll find that they are all stressed. How do you help them in that stress situation? So plenty and plenty of opportunities coming up. Of course, all other areas are also opening up. But this, to my mind, is one of the biggest areas which literally every client of yours would need.
Right, get it. Thank you, ma'am, for your answer. My next question is to you, Robin, sir. Like, there are a lot of people asking this question, like with CA, they also want to do some additional courses as well. Like their competitors, as you pointed out in your speech, that MBAs are the biggest competitors from these IIM graduates. So what are some of the courses which you would suggest to these candidates that they can do with their CA so that they can polish their skills and companies can hire them? What is your view on this?
At a very macro level, I still feel CA is good enough. whatever possibilities exist in front of us, CA qualification is fairly good enough. But having said that, upgradation of knowledge, new skill sets are a continuous factor. Some of us need a 2-year course to understand and learn. For instance, if you want to become a financial analyst or a equity analyst or a debt analyst, CFA is a good course to have. But do you need to study CFA? Do you need to spend the time, effort, and money? Is a $1 million question? I think not. I think I also analyze equity market and investment analysis as well, but I don't have a CFA. So do you need an additional qualification? Answer is no. But a chartered accountant is best placed to become an Indian Administrative Service for sure. I think based on the skills, IAS, IAPS, IFRS, IFS are very good skills to have. So if you're inclined to that, do that study and perhaps pass that exam. That's a good one. Of course, doing CMA and CS, I have done it. Is it useful? I don't think so, because most of the thing we already know as a CA. Do you need a CFA? Again, I don't think so. It's required. But if you can get a good MBA from the top 20 institutions, that is something which is worth doing, because that will teach you a method to analyze based on case studies. We, the CAs, understand numbers so well, but we don't do a case study analysis method. Communication skills, analyze problems, and be a problem solver. I think that you will learn in 2 years. But please do from top 20 or max 25. Don't do with any other institute which is lower than that. That doesn't work in my view.
Thank you, sir. Anand, sir, even like you've done your CS, LLB with your CA. So what are your views on this?
I think, Kushal, I agree with Mr. Robin that as far as our technical skill sets, aptitude, and abilities are concerned, the CA course takes us right up there. Unless you want to go for some very super specialization, you can choose to go for a LLB or a CFA, essentially just as a bolt-on to your CA, so that you have a further sharpness to your CV. But apart from technical, as far as functional training is concerned, which is the MBA, or now, from a perspective of digital training is concerned, there are quite a few courses which are available thanks to the pandemic completely for free. So in the pandemic, like I explored this Google Digital Garage, and there are about 25 free courses, anywhere between 3 weeks to 3 months that you can do on AI, on blockchain, on cryptocurrency, on digital marketing. So, I mean, I would just say that on the functional part, lots to be done. It's an ever learning process. On the technical side, only if there is a super specialization required, maybe one can consider these bolt-on courses.
Get it. Thanks a lot for your answer as well. We also have a question from the audience, and we also wanted to ask this question as well. For the CAs who wants an opportunity to work abroad, like, so how can he find a particular opportunity to find abroad? And what are your views on a CA working in a foreign country? So Robin, sir, we'll go with you.
I have myself worked abroad. I was in Germany for 5 years. So let me share my perspective on working abroad. 2 things. One, you can migrate to Australia or Canada. These are the 2 countries which encourages migration of individuals of particular caliber and quality. And being a chartered accountant, you will get quite good marks, and migration is easier. So you can migrate to those countries. And just now, I think Institute of Chartered Accountants have entered into an understanding with Indian Institute of Australia that the CA courses now will be recognized. But even if it is recognized or non-recognized, you can always do the local courses, local CFA courses. You have to appear for 4 or 5 papers and you are done with it. So Australia and Canada migration, working there, becoming a citizen is an option. The difficult one is sitting in India to get a call to say, come work in Europe, work in France, work in Germany, work in Dubai, work in Singapore. That is a matter of luck. That does not happen. If you apply sitting in India that I want to do an European job, they will not do that, because they'll say you don't have European citizenship and that employer is not willing to sponsor that. They don't know who you are, and that's not going to happen. However, Getting a job in Middle East is not bad because Middle East is, as you know, 70-80% are Indian, chartered accountant Indian people. So sitting in India, Arab Times and all those newspapers which are there in the public domain through internet, you can definitely go to the Middle East. Middle East is an option available. US, Canada and Australia is available, migration. Others, it's a matter of luck that you will be approached based on your skill and your goodwill in the market that someone approaches you. I know I'm now being very encouraging on this, but to get an Europe or American job sitting in India is very, very difficult, and definitely it's a matter of luck. What happened to me, I'll tell you. I got a job with ArcelorMittal, Germany. I was a managing director in Germany, and it so happened that Ernst & Young was appointed by ArcelorMittal to find a person who can be their CFO and MD, CEO in their German operations. I used to work for Hindustan Unilever. So the headhunter searched, and who is the person who is doing this type of job? And they figured out 4 or 5 people. I'm sure they picked up me also, and I got selected. So it's a matter of luck. I wouldn't say I was anything great. It's just a matter of luck. Ernst & Young approached me, Mr. Mittal liked me, and that's it. So this is the story to my mind.
Get it. Thank you, sir. Bhavna, ma'am, would you like to add something on this?
Yeah, same. Because getting straight away an opportunity to work abroad is very difficult, unless, of course, you have some family relations, some connection. Institute also from time to time has this program where some of these people from abroad are saying that we are looking for Indian chartered accountants, and they reach out, and that's where we have the placement program with them. That's one aspect. And sometimes people also reach out saying that we would like to engage Indian chartered accountants, and therefore they reach out and get, but it's again, it's comparatively little difficult because most of the countries have their own regulations for employment. So getting straight away becomes quite a challenge. But if one gets an opportunity, it's worth taking it. Sometimes people wonder that I have this opportunity, but do I take out 2 years? What will happen when I come back? I would think that experience is worth it. That experience is certainly worth it, and one should take it. But straight away to say that sitting here, somebody will call on me. And also, experience is something which really matters. You need to have some experience before somebody will reach out to you.
Right. Thank you so much for such a wonderful answer. I think it was a very, very value additive session, and everyone is going to gain a lot of value. For the next 10 minutes or so, like we just take a few interesting questions from the audience as well. So CA Saurabh Dwivedi asks, as a fresher CA who's starting up with a proprietary practice, the biggest challenge is landing clients. In that regard, what's the best way to do your firm's marketing given that advertisement is not permitted?
May I take that?
Yeah, sure.
No, it's a very difficult situation. And you can't just go out and tell people that, look here, I've now started my practice, give me some work. And in fact, in the initial years, one gets tempted because initially you don't have work. So people feel, and there are people, businesses who want to use you. So they'll come and say, oh, this is a small certificate. Can you do it for us? And that person is comparatively new and feels, yes, ek chota sa certificate de dete, shuru to ho jaye. But please don't fall for that temptation. Think through and decide what you really want to do and how you want to go about it. But getting clients is, again, generally it happens through family, friends, where somebody will refer somebody to you. Also your own organization where you worked. Very often we have seen that the principal generally helps that, okay, this is a client, can you serve? Again, depends on the relationships that you have built, your own skill sets, where somebody will reach out and say, oh, you're starting new, fine. I'd like to refer a client to you. And then again, it depends on how you have delivered. If you have delivered well, then it's word of mouth which spreads and somebody else will reach out to you and somebody else, and then it goes on and on. And networking is very important. Attending programs, connecting with people. So where people see that you are there, this is the space where you are there and this is what you bring on table. If they like you, they'll come to you. That's the only way one can go about it.
Right. Thank you. Next question is to you, Anand sir.
Sorry, you might have some other younger people who may want to respond, maybe Narayan, Preeti, as to how do you think one can, as a fresher, get a job or assignment?
Let Anand take that.
Yeah, so I mean, just two more cents to what Bhavna Ben said. I think, generally what at least I have seen is that when we are starting, uh, we are a generalist for sure, because we can't choose when we are starting. But to some level, there has to be a positioning that will need to be cultivated in the minds of your networking peers, clients, etc. It may evolve over 2 to 3 years, but it can't be that I'm doing GST also, tax also, company law also, though you may do it. But at least your positioning, networking should be on a particular area of your expertise and liking, which will also help you in networking, and it will help that sort of a recollection in your client's mind or in your networking mind. We did this 40 under 40 at the BCS RRC that Narayan Bhai suggested, where we had 40 chartered accountants who have started practice who are under 40 years. And we did a round robin just to do a speed networking kind of a thing. And each one introduced themselves to say that I do tax, I do GST, I do company law, and I do auditing. Maybe the only differentiation was a city from which they would have come for the RRC. So at the end of the day, the people who was conducting the networking session told us that, look, there was no differentiation. How do I recollect that if I have a particular thing on transfer pricing, I need to go to A or I need to go to B? So our LinkedIn profiles, the overall thought leadership, the marketing collaterals, the articles that you may write need to be focused on an area for it to create the right impact in the minds of the users. That's maybe only an active KRA that I can suggest.
Right, get it. Thanks for such a lovely answer. Next question would be to you, Robin sir. It's from a participant. He says that how can a CA firm, how can a CA...
Narayan was responding to that earlier.
No. What I mean to say is, ultimately, your soft skill will be more important because the institute does not permit full-time marketing. So, as Bhavna Ben said, as Anand said, you have to be seen, number one, at all places. And whenever you talk to somebody, you have to impress that person, maybe a prospective client. See, your clients are your biggest marketing agents. They speak good about you. Work comes to you, referrals come to you. So you have to be seen at places. You have to be very articulate when you are speaking to somebody. You know the subject well, whatever you are speaking. Otherwise, you can always say, okay, I'll come back to you after later. This is what I understand. The problem with the new pass outs today is that their thought process and their in-depth knowledge is very, very poor. In fact, I will say. I have been speaking to the institute also, to those in command. Okay, passing exams is not the only thing. They should be presentable. We are only now 4 lakh people who have passed out this year exam right from 1949. So only 4 lakh out of 136 crores. Very select people, out of which 70,000 have not taken membership also. So we are officially only 330. So we are very select people. So we should behave that way. And there's no dearth of work for good people. This is what I understand. Thank you.
Yeah. If I may just add, including even, your hobbies. So, whom you are in networking with or interacting with. So even those hobbies, I remember early days when people would say that, I'm attending this music concert. Why? Because I know that there are this people. And if I get an opportunity, I'll get introduced to them. And then slowly you start building. That also helps you. So a wide variety of ways, if you're going to the club, talk to people, and of course, writing articles and so on, where people can see that you have the knowledge. And that's the reason they should reach out to you.
Right, absolutely. Thank you so much, ma'am, as well. I'll be asking the last question on behalf of the audience to Robin, sir. So participant asks, how can a CA sustain in such a rapidly evolving technology era And what are some of the steps to be taken by a CA to act as consultant in an evolving automated environment?
Automations are of two types. One is the so-called data automation, which is taking place, we discussed big data, artificial intelligence, and all that, which also would involve to some extent the cryptocurrency type of situation, blockchain technology. So that's one type of automation. The other type of automation which is taking place, which is Industry 4.0, which is the robotics of the world. Now, we as chartered accountants I believe we are not expected to understand the Industry 4.0 type of automation knowledge, but we are definitely talking about the other type, which is the big data and all that. How do you learn that? I think in the last 1 year, the most of the famous management institutes of the world, including Harvard, you can do now courses online without going there and not spending enormous quantum of money. You can actually do a great Harvard Business School course on IT, information technology, for instance, and chartered accountants, to my mind, are greatly suited for doing that. Sitting in your home, 6 months, you are done and dusted. Similarly, with the Chicago Business School, great courses are there. All the top 30, 40 Ivy League institutions have all now got internet-based courses because they need money. They need to also survive and pay their professors. So I think for Indians, we, the chartered accountants, a new vista of opportunity of learning and upgrading on the technology bit has singularly improved. Apart from the fact that I think Institute itself is doing great courses. I have noticed great courses they have done over the last 1 year. Super courses, super feedback. But assuming for a moment you don't want to do an ICAI course, you want to do an international course, which has great value in the job market also. At this avenue was not available 365 days back. It's now available. So please learn the skill. 6 months if you devote, if you have passed CA exam, you can also do this course. And believe me, a new opportunity, new doors will open in front of you.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for your guidance as well. And I think thank you so much for all of you for taking out your time. Indeed, like a leader is a person who shows the way, knows the way, and goes the way. So you all have shown the way to all these future leaders who are going to be CEOs or CFOs of these multinational companies. So thank you so much for your time. Indeed, it was one of the best sessions even I have been moderating. And now I'd like to invite few participants to share their thoughts, and maybe if they want to ask some question to you, they can ask. So I'd like to invite Komal Jain, who secured All India Rank 1, to share her thoughts on the session. And if you want to ask a question, you can ask to any of the panelists.
Komal, you have to unmute yourself. Komal.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, thanks, Kushal. Firstly, I would really want to thank the entire BCS team for organizing this wonderful session. I mean, this was something which was really needed at this point of time when there are so many options around and we really are clueless as to which path to take. The mentors really guided us very well and the session was truly very insightful. And I really want to take this opportunity to ask one of the question which I have in mind to one of the mentors. So my question is for Robin sir here. So as sir told that if one wants to enter into the industry, the one should aspire to become a CFO at least, which a chartered accountant can easily do. So I really want to ask that if we really want to take that path of becoming a CFO or taking up that leadership role, what is something that we can do at this stage to prepare ourselves, and what should be some of the important milestones that we should really aim at to achieve that?
Robin, so you're on mute.
Number one is attitude. You must have an attitude to become a leader. Many a times we do not depict that. So from day one, let me tell you an example. About 2 or 3 years back, about 65 or 70 chief human resource officers across the globe were asked a question that when you look for a future recruit, when you look for a future management recruit, what is that characteristic you look for? What is that characteristic you look for when you recruit? And if I do a poll, I'm quite sure the characteristic, it will not come out. The answer was entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is what they look for. And Komal, I think chartered accountants can depict entrepreneurship the best. So if you can depict the attitude of making money of an opportunity, then why CFO? You will become a CEO. You will hit the board and you will hit faster than ever. And that's what employers are looking for. And we, the CAs, can deliver it the fastest.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful answer again. Next, we have Vaibhav Hariharan, who has secured All India Rank 2 in the Jan 2021 attempt. So, Vaibhav, you can go ahead.
Good evening to one and all present in this session. Good evening, Kushal. Good evening to all the panelists. First of all, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask my question and for organizing this entire session so nicely. So, my question is to all the panelists who are speaking today. So, it's generally seen that all successful people have a habit of reading regularly. So, I wanted to know which is that one book that had a great impact on your professional life and career. And what other books did you read, and what do you think should be the amount of reading that should be done to be successful?
Thank you. Bhavna ma'am, you'd like to take it?
Yeah, I think lots of reading. One must keep reading all the time. So early days, we used to read, in those days, we used to get physical copies. So we used journals and so on. And plus, always, I think even when you read novels, they also give you some good thoughts. And several authors that one keeps reading, one keeps also reading the science fiction, just what's happening in the world, and sometimes you get ideas from that. Ultimately, all of us ultimately have that entrepreneurship within ourselves. We want to do something different, we want to achieve something, yes, and we want to create a different, in a sense, world around us, whatever we talk about, but generally. So therefore, I think whatever you love, whichever area you love, just keep reading. Like, for me, one of the influences was also David Mester. He was how to run a professional practice, professional firm. So he has been writing brilliantly. And Coelho Paulo, he again writes just brilliantly about variety of social aspects, and again very nice books. So this is all that I love, and of course various science fiction and so on, all the time on the plane. That's what I do, traveling.
Yeah, thank you. Anand, would you like to add something?
A lot of technical stuff that we keep reading, but apart from that, during my CA course, one of my mentors exposed me to a book which was How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie, and it has been one of my favorites, helped me sail through CA and the educational life. And in recent times, I've got this book called Grit, Grit, by Angelina Duckworth, and again, helps you keep grounded. The message is that talent is not something that is a differentiator. Your looks or your abilities are not a differentiator. The differentiator is the grit that you have to get a particular thing done. And that message comes across very strongly from that book. So yeah, Grit has been one of my recent favorites, Vaibhav.
Amazing. And Robin, so one book which you would like to recommend?
One book which has changed my life, which is very close to what Anand said, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. Again, by Dale Carnegie. My humble submission, all of you who are hearing this, 171 of you, excluding me, will be 170. Please read this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It will change your life.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Vaibhav, for the question. Next, we have CA Khushi Agrawal.
I think Narayan wanted to say.
Narayan wants to say something.
Okay.
I only read autobiographies, and I'm getting impressed. The best autobiography I've read is The Insider, P.V. Narasimha Rao. It's worth reading, and a lot of them. I've read the Kapoors also. So I read each pattern. I must be having 250 plus in my library. So read autobiographies of people who have done good work in life.
Right. I think it is going to inspire all of you to give more than 100% of yours if you read autobiographies as well. So next we have CA Khushi Agrawal. So Khushi, you can go ahead.
Khushi, you are muted. You have to unmute yourself.
Good evening to all the panelists. It was like one of the best sessions that I have attended in my entire life. It was very, very informative. And I am obliged that I got this opportunity to ask a question in front of such experienced person. And I had this question in my mind since the day I have joined my job in Ernst & Young in transfer pricing department. So I just wanted to understand. So I've taken up a specialization, a niche field, and I wanted to understand what if after 3-4 years I end up with the conclusion that this is not really my thing. Like how one should pick up from there, how one can know about something without actually getting into it. How can one know that this is what something I want to do without actually doing it?
Yep, that's a good question again. So, Robin, so you'd like to take it?
It's a very good question. All of us, I think every human being goes through that, some part of that part of our lives and things like that. My submission is stop loss is what you need to take your decision on. That means cut the umbilical cord when you believe that this is not something I need to do and I'm enjoying doing it. For instance, if you're just giving an example, taking your case, perhaps that you are there in transfer pricing for 4 years and you're saying, hey, hello, this is not something I was wanting to do. Now it's 4 years. Never too late for anything. I was told that you cannot get a job when you are 40 and above. Then I was told 45. Then I was told 50. We can always get a job at every age. There's always an opportunity for any age, provided you make up your mind, this is what I want to do. So cut the loss. Don't start brooding about it, brooding over it. Think what you wish to do. But having said that, what you will do also depends upon opportunities. If you want to join an industry, just because you don't like transfer pricing, assuming for a moment you don't like transfer pricing, but you like internal auditing. I'm just giving an example. There may not be an internal audit work which is coming across. Nobody's giving you a job, perhaps. And therefore, it also depends a little bit of an opportunity. But you must then tell your headhunters, and there are adequate headhunters, that I would want to do some jobs like this, but my submission to you is, don't get stuck in particular discipline that I want to do only internal audit. Okay, transfer pricing you're not liking, but maybe there are hundreds of the things you may like. And why don't you go into those areas in totality, rather than saying, I only want to do internal audit and I don't like transfer pricing. And be it practice, be in industry, believe me, you can shift. My quick suggestion to you is, if you are less than 2 years CA qualified, and if you get an opportunity, want to change your field, join as a management trainee and move on. But yes, you will lose 2 years, but doesn't matter. Moment you join as a management trainee, and industry is going to give you holistic inputs and you can move on faster. Those 2 or 3 years really doesn't matter. Sometimes what happens, oh, I'm a 2-year CA or 3-year CA. How can I join as a management trainee? How can I join as a trainee? Doesn't matter. How does it matter? Because those 2 to 3 years which you have experienced will be counted by your new employer. Let me tell you that, will be counted. It doesn't go waste. Nothing in this world go waste. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such a lovely answer.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Next, we have CA Vinamra Jain. So, Vinamra, you can go ahead and ask the question.
Thank you, Kushal. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm really very thankful to the BCS for organizing this. It was really insightful session. To all the 3 panelists, they were really very good. My question is to Robin, sir. Generally, in the industry, we are seeing that the product management employees are really preferred over the one who are hired for the cost side, because generally CAs are hired from the corporate finance team, which is a cost center for the companies. But the employees which are hired on the sales side, they have got preference more than these one. How at present, as a fresher, an employee can get into the sales side and not on the cost side, which is a conventional role for the CAs?
Honestly, it really doesn't matter whether you're joined as a sales side, cost side, profit side, loss side, doesn't matter. What is important is that are you a good resource? Do you have an attitude? And do you think like an entrepreneur? It really doesn't matter. But being a CA, normally your first steps and departments will be where you have got your education in. So chances are that you will join as a tax or an accounts or an internal audit. This is where you are going to join. A product management, normally an MBA is going to take over. An MBA will not join as an accountant, not join as a costing department, not join as an MIS. So this is how it will be distinguished. But after 3, 4, 5 years, all will go, it will all merge. Nobody has ever asked me after 5 years, are you a CA or an MBA? It doesn't matter. Similarly, an MBA has to learn CA and a CA has to learn MBA. He has to understand, an MBA has to understand charter, balance sheet and profit and loss account. And I have to know how to make a wonderful presentation. So after 4, 5 years, everything merges. And if you are good, automatically success has to come. So do what you get. Don't worry about product side, profit side, and loss side. Doesn't matter.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the answer as well. Thanks a lot for all the three of you. Now we have a surprise for all the panelists over here. So we are going to have a rapid fire round now. So all these three panelists weren't aware about this rapid fire, and we have not told them about the questions. Of course, this is a surprise for all the three of them. So quickly, I'll begin the rapid fire with Bhavna ma'am. So Bhavna ma'am, here you go. The first word that comes to your mind when you see and meet a young chartered accountant.
Enthusiasm.
Your favorite comfort food other than Gujju cuisine.
Me again?
Yeah. 4 questions to you then, Robin.
Okay. Sorry. Other than?
Your most cherished, your favorite comfort food other than Gujju cuisine.
Idli sambar.
Your most cherished possession.
Gautam bhai.
Yeah, my grandkids now, of course.
Okay. And the last question, what would you have found most fulfilling? Advisors to your clients, member on various prestigious regulatory bodies, or coach to countless individuals?
I think best now, as we go along, we have a lot of changes happening. So today I like the best is mentoring people, social work, helping others, organizations, and so on and so forth. Today's time. Earlier, of course, it was, and today also continuing advising, and where you win a case in those days, where clients come back and tell you with, in one case where it was a very, very, very difficult case. And when I won, the client walks in with a bouquet of flowers saying, we are so thrilled. I said, I'm more thrilled than all of you. So, so many different aspects.
Lovely. Thank you. Next, we have Robin, sir. So your favorite sport and sportsman. So you're on mute.
My favorite sports is badminton, because that I play regularly. And sports person as of now is Virat Kohli.
Okay, amazing. Your second time favorite read other than How to Win People and Influence Friends?
Second most important read which I have is, that's a good one. There are so many books.
Own books, sir.
You can see the books behind you. I have read a book called The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. That again changed the way we look at human beings. So I would again suggest if people can read the book called The Tipping Point.
Okay. Your favorite exercise in the gym?
Running.
Okay. And rank all these 4 in the order of your preference, with the first being the most preferred: Rabindra Sangeet, Rasgulla, football, and Bangla literature.
Football.
Okay. Next, we'll ask questions to Anand, sir. The one quality you look for in a person when you want to hire them.
Grit.
Your favorite band and singer.
Not quite a music person, but yeah, maybe some of these Sufi musics.
Ask your mother. She's a good singer.
Yeah.
Okay. Rank them in the descending order of your choice, with the first being the most preferred: leisure traveling, watching movies, hanging out with friends, and working.
Working, leisure traveling, friends, and movies.
Rimple, I hope you have heard that. Working is the first one. And last question: what excites you the most about your work? Harnessing technology, diversifying the practice, or interactions and discussions with professionals from different fields?
I think the third one, I mean, being in practice, you meet so many entrepreneurs, and you can understand and maybe to some extent gauge them, that what are the peculiar traits of a particular person or a business that maybe scores them as against the other. So as a student of business, getting exposure to, let's say, more than 200 different businesses gives that kind of excitement, which is what I like the most about my job.
Amazing, amazing. Thanks to the three of you once again for answering all the questions. Now, so like just on a concluding note, what would be one piece of advice which you'd like to give all the young qualified professionals? So we'll begin with Robin, sir. Your concluding remarks.
I've already stated, please bear in yourself a positive attitude, and everything can be delivered. Attitude, positive attitude.
Amazing. Bhavna, ma'am?
Remain focused and
Right.
keep sharpening your tools.
Right. Thank you. And Anand, sir?
I mean, the career is a marathon, so don't take it like a sprint. It's a circle as well. So you will see some people starting ahead, some people starting behind, but ultimately it's a circumference. So everyone has the same kilometers to cross. So don't worry if someone is ahead or behind. It's a circle and it's a marathon.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think all three panelists, you've answered all the questions, and it was very value additive session as well. Thank you so much once again. It was one of the best sessions, even like everyone are going to have. We have responses on the chat box as well. Thanks a lot for your time. Now I'd like to hand over to Mrinal for announcing some of the BCS things. So over to you, Mrinal.
So much. Thank you so much, Kushal. This was an amazing session. Good evening, everyone. Congratulations to all the rank holders and successful candidates. We wish you good luck for your future endeavors. Now, the event, which is the felicitation of all the fresh chartered accountants who have appeared in the November 2020, as well as the Jan 21 attempt. We would like to, as it has been announced by our chairman as well as the president, we are glad to offer the following benefits to the pass outs of the November 2020 as well as the Jan 21 attempt on becoming a BCS members. So after you become a BCA member, we would like to offer you an e-voucher of rupees 1000, which could be encashed against a BCS event or a purchase of a publications or enrollment of a study circle. An online flipbook version of the BCA referential, which was released in this today's event. We would like to offer you an online flipbook version of the same. A 1-month subscription to access the online course content and the recorded videos of the GST long duration course. So we would offer you that GST long duration course subscription as well. The above kit links and passwords would be shared over email once you become a BCA member. The enrollment of BCA membership is just a click of a button and can be done from the comfort of your home. Participants can access the quick links, enter in their basic details and make the online payment. Since ICI membership number is a prerequisite for BCS membership, you will be provided a temporary number until you receive and share with us the ICI membership number. Please share the ICA membership number as soon as you get with the BCA, and your number would be converted into a permanent BCS membership. We shall also post the link of the BCS membership quick links on the WhatsApp group that has been created, as well as we'll share this on email to every one of you. Please do share all these details with your friends who could not attend or enroll for this event, as these benefits are open to all of them. We would also like to felicitate all the rank holders of November 20 as well as the Jan 21 attempt by offering them a 1 year's BCS membership, free membership. They can send an email to the BCS on sp@bcsonline.org with their personal details, and the BCS team will get in touch with them. Apart from the free membership, of course, they would be eligible for the e-benefits which were announced earlier for all the new members. Now, all the participants who have attended this session and benefited out of this particular event, we would like to offer to you also something. as has happened in the past, we had an offline event at BCS office, and where we gifted the fresh chartered accountants with a personalized pen and select BCS publication. Due to the lockdown restrictions, we could not have an offline event, and hence we would be offering you an e-kit, which would be comprising of the following: an online flipbook version of MSME and startup registration benefits and SOPs. This is a booklet which is for MSME and startups. So we would be offering you a flipbook version of the same. We would also offer you a e-voucher of rupees 500, which could be encased at any BCS event or on publication of any PCS publication. We would also offer PDF versions of the BCA journal, the recent BCS journal. Viewers who have been with us, who could not join on Zoom and have been with us on the YouTube, they could also take benefit of this. They can share an email with us and we'll share the details with you all again. All the above details would be shared with you on the WhatsApp group as well as on email. Do reach to us on any of the admins in case of any query. We would also post a feedback link on the WhatsApp group, and we request each one of you to give their honest feedback so that we can improve on the future sessions. Before I end, I would like to make mention a forthcoming BCS events. A fireside chat is scheduled on 24th of April, which is tomorrow, on the new provisions under Income Tax Act for the trusts. An analytics bootcamp for youths below the age of 30 is scheduled between 27th to 29th. Now, this is where we could benefit about the new learnings about the data analytic tools and the IDEA software. There is a virtual study course on GST, which is scheduled from 3rd June to 6th June. The course would cover panel discussions, case studies, and paper presentations by eminent faculties and industry experts. The details of all the forthcoming BCS sessions are available on the BCS website, which is www.bcsonline.org. I would also request everyone to download the My BCS app, which is available on the Android as well as the iPhone store, where you get all the details about the events, and you can also subscribe to the various events. Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to more such interactions with all of you. Thank you so much. Over to you, Kushal.
Thank you so much, Mrinal, for all the gifts and all the opportunities which will be provided to all the young chartered accountants. I'd like to invite Virag Shah to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am honored to propose this formal vote of thanks. Friends, you will all agree that interactive session was full of experience, knowledge, and practical inputs, and very interesting perceptions. The event gave one of us deep insight into the CA profession, both in industry and in practice, opportunities into emerging new areas, how to network opportunity during and the post-COVID era, additional course option available for post-qualification opportunities, and many other areas. Our mentors were very candid in all that spoke, and we are all enriched after that. So very clear as told by Robin sir as well. Communication, learning, very clear that communication, learning, ethics, attitude, relax. So which is we can remember lifelong. And interesting and my favorite part of the entire session was the rapid fire round. All the three mentors answered their question quite honestly and from their heart. So I'm very confident that the precious knowledge shared today will immensely benefit all the newly qualified CS and their career path ahead. So I, on behalf of the Bombay Chartered Accountant Society and all the participants, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all the three mentors, CA Bhavna Doshi ma'am, CA Robin Banerjee sir, and CA Anand Bathiya sir, for taking out time despite of a busy schedule to guide our newly qualified CA and today's very interactive session. I also thank the editors of the reference sir, 2021-22 for releasing the flipbook version today. I also thank our today's moderator, CA Kushal Loda, for facilitating the discussion in a very interesting and very effective manner. We are very thankful to our Honorable President C.A. Suhas Paranjpe sir and Vice President C. Abhay Mehta sir and other office bearer for their motivation. I would like to thank our dynamic chairman C.A. Narayan Pasari sir for his enthusiastic support as always. A special thanks to the convener Preeti ma'am, Kinjal ma'am, and Mrinal bhai, our coordinator Rimple and Bcas staff for their unflinching support and dedication so as to put this online event together. Also, our heartfelt thanks to all our newly qualified CA for their active participation in such large numbers. I would request each one of you to carry this vote of thanks with a loud virtual applause.
Thank you
I
everyone.
request everyone, all the participants to connect with us online through our all social media handle on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. If anybody has missed this session, they can watch, or if anybody join us later part, they can watch entire session on YouTube as well. So thank you so much all once again. And with this, we move to the end of our today's facilitation event. Thank you so much all.
Thank
President, speak something.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Yes.
Thank you, Virag, for all these honors. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so
And
much.
enjoy the Mumbai Indians match. Mumbai Indians should win today.
Yes, sir.
All the best. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you everyone. All the best.